You beautiful lot. My name's Jason. This is my 80s podcast. You put the boom, boom into my heart. Right. Just to let you know, this is the second part of my words, ... don't come easy. It's all about words in different songs and what they mean. And we just dive into them and digest them. But this is just a bit of a warning because one of them that we were talking about is from 1981 as a rocker. And it is a bit of one of those about you clutch your pearls and chest. And when Karen brought it up, even I went, and I felt a little bit awkward. But this is just a warning. It's not the best lyrics. It's a bit, it's not. But it's just, this is what the 80s were like with some of their shit ass lyrics, some of their, you know what I mean? That's why I love the 80s, but some of the lyrics, I have to be honest, one of the lyrics that Karen talks to about first is just unbelievable. So it's a bit of a warning. It's a bit of a, what the enjoy this. Brilliant. You beautiful. My name's Jason. This is my 80s podcast. You put the boom, boom into my heart. Right, this is part 2 of my chat with Karen. This is words don't come easy to, it's not to me, but don't come easy. Right, Karen, where we're starting again. So, Johnny, you go off. What lyrics have you got for us to dive into? And
okay, so mine are quite tame. Do you know what? When we first started talking about this, and I got some really juicy ones, it seems like the 70s were far worse than the 80s.
It was.
So that's why I kind of found them, because I was thinking, these are really bad.
But there is some 80s.
But
there is some 80s ones that you don't know that are not really popular songs, because I was looking at some 80s ones.
Exactly.
That are not really popular.
That's
some
the problem.
Of them are crazy.
And I played one today because I thought, who is this? Because I've never heard of this. I still haven't heard of it. And I played the tune and I thought, don't know that either. Might have been really famous in America, maybe,
okay.
On the American chart rather than the UK chart. But the words are pretty awful. So it's really bad. I'll tell you the title and it'll give you an idea. It's called Jailbait.
That was I have to be honest, I feel like I've heard that, but probably I think it might have probably been like a
it might have been a sort of like,
I think it was
an American one-off thing. It probably got banned. I don't know. But it was got a guy called Ted Nugent. Nugent? I don't see again, he's a rocker. Like, AC/DC and that, he was in that kind of
so it's probably someone that people that won't know, but they are the best lyrics, because the ones that people don't, they never got played.
So I'll give you the lyrics and you can make all sorts of faces. Well, I don't care if you're just 13. You look
Jesus
too good
Christ.
to be true. I just know that you're probably clean. There's one little thing I've got to do.
No.
So then it goes on with something else, and then it says, honey, you look so nice. She's young, she's tender. Won't you please surrender? She's so fine, she's mine.
God!
It's all right, baby.
And you know what?
It's quite all right. I asked your mama. And it gets worse.
Do you know what? That's probably why that was not a hit. Jesus Christ.
Wait a minute, officer. Don't put these handcuffs on me. Put them on her and I'll share her with you.
Oh, my God. Do you know what?
But I listened to it. Right, I made sure I wanted to listen to it.
I bet you can't even hear half of them words, can you?
No, you can't.
But don't you think that's a bit like what I was saying about what I spoke about before, that Money Ain't For Nothing by Dire Straits, that about
everyone's
faggots and everything in it, and I didn't know that until I read the lyrics. That is a terrible song. That is absolute. And do you know what? And I bet people didn't even, because like you said, in the 80s when you're
pretty rocked away to it,
sitting there with the rockers and banging their heads away like that, realising it, and just think,
you can't make it out.
Oh my.
And I just thought,
I have to be honest, I did nearly do an Anna and clutch my pals about 10 times then. Oh my God. Karen, no. That is absolutely shocking.
It must have got
Terrible.
banned.
Yeah.
It must have got
I'm
banned.
going to look at that. There's no way
can
on earth.
imagine-
Who would,
it is.
what did it, that's disgraceful, isn't it? Absolutely
Isn't it?
disgraceful. Oh, God. See, mine's going to be even tamer than that now. I mean, I don't think I can top that one, but mine's quite a popular
Sorry.
one. So I'm going to do, because I love this, I'm going to do Tina Turner's Private Dancer. Now, as a child, this was probably the only time my dad flew up them stairs shouting at me for singing songs. and when I was looking, and it's like, I've just been looking, it's like, well, the men come in these places and the men are all the same. They don't look at you don't look at their faces, and you don't even ask their name. Now, me screaming that as a teenager, I didn't realise it's about prostitution, really, isn't it? She's a bit,
absolutely.
Of a hooker. I had no idea growing up that's what it was about. All I thought it was Tina Turner singing a great hit. Didn't realise that we were talking about hookers.
Yeah, it was Private Dancer, isn't it? Dancing for money.
I know, but it literally did not go into my head that that's what I was screaming at. And it's like the things when they said, you don't think of them as human. You don't think of them at all. You said, God. And that's what they must think when they do, because I mean they do, don't they? A lot of
it's just objects of desire.
Yeah. And then you read the other lyrics, and it's like then you understand. Even screaming as kids, I didn't know. But then you see in the other verses of the lyrics, it says like, "I want to live by the sea, have a husband and some children. Yes, I guess I want a family." So it's a bit like she's doing that for a reason. Isn't
they want to
it?
get out of it. Yeah.
And like all the men come in, and when you read that she wants to go, obviously she wants a family and all that, and then I just thought, but I wasn't thinking that when I was screaming about you don't look at their face. Oh my God, my dad, that has got to be the first time my dad come upstairs and he went, no, because you need to read the back of them, because obviously we know you used to have the vinyl, didn't you? Used to have all the words.
Yeah.
And even read, whether it was I was naive, because when you think it's like
the tune.
I was like 13.
It's the tune.
Yeah. And I wasn't that, and I love lyrics though. I've always loved lyrics. So part of me just thinks, why didn't I look at that and think, nah, that I can't. But I think
the tune overtakes it, doesn't it?
In my head it did. And then there was other bits in there. There was like where she says Dutch marks or dollars, American Express will do nicely, thank you. Let me loosen up your collar. Tell me, do you want me to do the shimmy?
Do what?
Tell me, do you want me to do the shimmy again?
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I mean? When you read them songs, them lyrics, and that was being screeched out. God, no wonder my dad went.
Oh my God.
And my mum's like throwing the shoe on the ceiling to try and get me to. I don't know why she did that. The music was that loud that I would never have heard anything. But that's what I mean. When you read, you know what I mean? I'm just your private dancer. When you read the lyrics, because you, as a kid, I've just bellowed that out.
I wonder what it was that inspired her. I know it's obviously a prostitute, but I wonder if she kind of saw it or.
But it's not even even the video, because even the to be honest, even watching the video as a kid of Private Dancer, you'd have
Is
thought,
she not walking down the streets?
No, that's what's love got to do with it.
Okay.
With a denim jacket on. But if you watch the video for this, even that's, I mean, it is Hinkling, but I think, like you said, I think growing up as a kid, it was just like, it could be anything. It was, you know what I mean? It was like, it was a song, and as much as I love listening and reading lyrics, it just didn't compute to me that's what we were singing about, some high class.
It's sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite a sad story, but it was storytelling, though, wasn't it? It was storytelling,
exactly. And and that's why I always think the 80s songs are really good at storytelling. And it's like when you read a lot of I mean, as much as like the one we did with Madonna, Like a Virgin, as much as that is, I love, you know what I mean? It's still storytelling, isn't it? And it's telling you about someone's life.
And the different chorus, not the chorus, but the bits in between.
Absolutely.
They have a narrative, don't they? And they blend into the next one,
and that,
so you know what's happening through the whole of that story.
They're telling their story, and it's like that one where you go, you keeping your eyes against the wall. It's because I'm your private dancer dancing from under. Then it goes, any old music will do, and then she goes on to say, I want to live by the sea and have a family. It's like, so she's doing what she's doing because she wants to get a better life.
Yeah.
God, we are.
Yeah.
We're good at this, aren't
we? We are good at this.
I think the first one you told me completely shocked me. So I've just mellowed myself out now with this one because
we need to.
That one that was a pearl clutcher. That was like, oh no.
I know. I think you need to listen to it.
Yeah, and it's like with, I mean, to be honest, it's like not so much like Tina Turner. It's like you hit on the last episode we did where you're talking about like Madonna's Papa Don't Preach. I mean, that was about an unwanted, but about a pregnancy, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I have to be honest, I love Madonna. Like I said, I was screeching that out, and it weren't until you see the video.
Keeping my baby. Yeah.
That's what I'm on about. Keep it up. And you just sing, even though you're singing that, it was like, I'm just singing a song. Yeah. And then she's going, and she's saying, Daddy, Daddy, if you could only see how good he's treated. You've only just known him, Madonna, you stupid woman.
Yeah. And he's got you up the dump.
You know what I mean? And she's just sitting there expecting her dad to go, oh, well done.
But the video to that, the guy in it, he was gorgeous.
He was hot.
The boyfriend.
I can't remember his name.
He's an actor. He is an actor, and he's been in something. But even that story was told through that video because it was clear he wasn't going to stay with her.
She got more chance.
And she was going to be a single mum.
Oh, she had more chance of a rocking horse pooing on her front garden, Karen. Then.
I know, but he was pretty hot. But
that's what I'm on about. She was just, and it's like, and then she's pleading with her dad. And you just think, and then her dad's not having none of it. You just think, you've just known someone, and you expect your dad to accept it. He ain't staying, Duck. You're going to be on your own.
No, he's off, mate.
You're going to be single, Salah. But you know, I mean, that's another storytelling. That's why I love about, and I know that songs nowadays all the same. Every song story tells. But I always think, for me, a lot of the 80s stuff was probably a little bit more personal for me because it was like you're growing up in that sort of era. So that's probably why I remember them a lot more. So what's your other one? Please.
Well, funny enough, this is another storyteller. No, it's a mild one, but it's a story. It is a storytelling, and this group was one of my all-time favourite groups. I bought every single album they did, and it was by the Police.
Oh, I love the Police.
And I bought all of them. Zenyatta Mondatta, something LeBlanc, I think it was. I had all the albums. I loved everything about them, and the one that I really love this song, and it's the Don't Stand So Close.
Oh,
because it's about a teacher who fancies a student.
Yeah. And when you think it's like we're saying about lyrics, because I'd have probably just sang that and probably had no.
Well, I sang it all the way through and didn't bat an eyelid. I mean, it starts off, young teacher, the subject of schoolgirl fantasy. She wants him so badly, knows what she wants to be.
Yeah.
Inside him, there's longing. This girl's an open page, bookmarking. She's so close now. This girl is half his age. But, you know, it's all about him getting caught as well, because like there's talking in the staff room about him.
Yeah, and everyone knows that she fancies him, and he really fancies her. But the funniest line in that, when it says he starts to shake and cough, just like the man in Nabokov, was that? And I was like, did they just run out of rhyming words? Just to put something else in.
To rhyme with cough.
But you're right with it's like with that song. I have to be honest, I loved that song. My dad used to love Police as well. I have to be honest, for me, Sting was hot. He's got better. He's a bit like fine wine, isn't it? Yeah. He's got better with age.
I fell in love with him in Quadrophenia.
Oh, he was good. I love Quadrophenia.
I love that film. I fell in love with him in that. But the Police
so close to me. But that's a bit like Message in the Bottle, isn't it? And all that sort of that they had. I mean, it's like I said, it's all storytelling. And when you was when you was growing up in the 80s, you'd have been singing that about infancy, but you wouldn't even have an inkling. I have to be honest, like you were saying, I hadn't got a Scooby-Doo that's what they were singing about until, as you get older, it's like anything else, isn't it? It's like, I suppose even kids nowadays screech out things that you think you shouldn't be singing that, but I
just loved the chorus. Don't stand.
And that's what it is.
So, but I don't know why I was saying it.
And that's what it is, isn't it? It's the catchy lyrics and it's a tune. So you just sing it and you oblivious.
They could have sung 10 Green Bottles, and I would have thought they were great though, to be honest, because I just was in love with them all.
I did. And that's why that is one of the things about the 80s stuff that I love. The lyrics and they're imaginative. I mean, some of them were. It's like you said. You probably, well, not probably. You wouldn't get away with them lyrics now.
No.
And the other one that shocked the life out of me. You'd never get away with them lyrics ever. So you know what I mean. But even like this thing, and even like the Madonna one, probably, and. Probably Private Dancer, you probably wouldn't even, I don't know what they'd think about it now, but in the 80s, everyone was so liberal, weren't they? So laid back and so,
well, nothing was allowed to be offensive, was it?
No. And especially music for me, I mean, I've spoken about this before, and I've always said that for me, the 80s music was when people, wanted to identify themselves, and they wanted to identify themselves as you being unique. Whereas I think nowadays, like I've said before, it's all the same to me.
It's become a machine, hasn't it?
Whereas in the 80s, when you think they had to sell so many records to get into the charts, they didn't have the download that they have now. And you physically, in the 80s, and not just the 80s, all the other decades before, but obviously for us, for the 80s, they had to literally sell records. They didn't, it wasn't what was streaming, it was physical records that they had to sell. And it's like you said, that's why I love vinyl, because you physically can open a vinyl, can't you, and look at it. And whereas if everything's online, you don't get all that booklet and all that sort of stuff with it. And that's why, oh God, I said when I spoke to one with my sister, I was going on about the 80s, and I said, I wish if I'd had a chat with myself then now, I'd say to myself, save everything. Don't get rid of any toys. Don't get rid of any clothes. Don't get rid of any music. Keep everything. But
I had a stylophone. What happened to that?
And that's what and that's what we were saying. And I just think especially this word. That's why I like doing Words Don't Come Easy, because it's a different part of a podcasting. And it's just you can get into it's like the Name That Boom Boom. I love the Name That Boom Boom, because that is fun and a laugh, and you get to hear my amazing voice.
But you say about individuality as well. I mean, I think we've gone back into it slightly, because we're getting people like Taylor Swift, Harry Styles. They're unique. They've got their own style. They're earning a lot of money, and you're still going to get the Elton Johns and things like that. But I'm not knocking the 90s. I mean, it was good in its way. But when you say the 80s, you've got things like Adam Ant and the 70s and 80s. And they all came out and had their own individuality. You had one-offs. You had people that were in and out, one-hit wonders. Absolutely. But in the 90s, it was very much a spinning machine.
It was very technical.
And it was girl bands, boy bands, let's get them out quick, fast.
And it was all that
and it was money-making.
Yeah. And they'll say that.
It was a money-making machine.
Yeah. And when you hear people say that, that's what they say about the 90s. It was just... And I shouldn't know. I love the 90s for the fact that I used to go out clubbing and obviously all that music, but for me, I just think
it was all boom, 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 boom.
For me, it was just a bit too much of a noise. Whereas I think, and the 80s as well. For me, the 80s is probably. I mean, someone's going to have a go and say no, it's not. Is one of the decades that actually comes back all the time. It's you know what I mean. It's like, obviously I'm doing a podcast about the 80s, and when you look, there's loads of people that do things about the 80s, and even their influence comes back, their music, doesn't it? And people start, you know, like, I mean, it's a bit like I don't know. There's loads of people, isn't there? Just when you hear these pop stars and they say, "Oh, I used to love Adam and the Ant," and I used to love Duran Duran, and you just
Michael Jackson,
yeah, and Wham, George Martin. You know what I mean? And he influenced loads. They all influenced loads of people, and I don't think. I shouldn't say other decades won't, because they probably will. People will be going, I love the 90s. But this is an 80s podcast, so I can diss the 90s.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah,
they just had different verses through their songs. I was noticing that today. I wasn't just looking at shocking lyrics. I was looking at lyrics of other people's songs anyway. But what I realised was, you'll get a really catchy chorus. That's great. But each verse, like you said, it was a different verse. And I noticed that on TikTok, when you're trying to learn a song, there are different verses. Whereas if you do a 90s, it repeats itself.
It's quite similar, isn't it? But it's like you were saying about the 80s. I mean, you don't even, because when I was researching for this, for Words Don't Come Easy, it's like, I did put in like, shocking, but you don't even have to have that, because I'm not being funny. Private Dancer wasn't a shocking song, but when you read the lyrics in it, because to be honest, you can Karen, even if you look, I looked at what was it Rio by Duran Duran. I mean, some of them, even though her name is Rio and she's dancing on the sand, there's still little bits if you read through it.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be really bad.
No.
I mean, the police one wasn't that bad, but it was still insinuating that he was trying to have an affair with a young girl.
Yeah, and you wouldn't. I mean, the other one was like,
I know.
Clutch your pearls,
I had to put that in because it was so funny.
But you just think, don't you? That's when you know that people do not, and they do not listen. Read the words, or we just go on what we listened to when we was younger.
But then you think as well, like you say, Michael Jackson, he done Billie Jean, didn't he?
Billie Jean is not my
Billie
lover.
Jean's not.
She's just
she's just a girl who thinks I'm
the one to her baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
there's loads of them, and that's what I'm saying. That was a hit, weren't it? So that's what I'm saying. This song, and it's like bad. There's loads. It's even like Janet Jackson's "Nasty." I was looking at that. You know what I mean? When you leave some of that in it, some of that, you think, even though it's not horrible in a sort of way, but there's some shit ass lyrics about this. But, that was brilliant. Right, thanks ever so much for that, Karen.
You're welcome.
And we're gonna have to try and do some other stuff. I'm gonna try and get us all together to try and do a Eurovision one. I've got all that, to be fair.
That'd be good.
So I did it all before, so I've got all that, but I'm going to go through them all again. So do it for video.
Making your mind
up. Do you know when you look at the Eurovision one, and people do not believe when you say that Celine Dion won in 1989?
I know.
And people go, no, she did, and it was just so. What we'll do is it'd just be the winners from 1980 to 1989, even though I did it.
Just look at them all.
It was one of my first ever podcasts that I did, but it wasn't obviously the most brilliant video recording. So I've got all the stuff. So we'll redo it, and I'll see if Anna and that want to come on, and we'll do all that.
Oh yeah, that'd be brilliant to remember all of them.
Yeah, that'd be really. So and just to go through them, because it's coming up.
Katie Price has got to be in there somewhere, isn't she?
Who?
Katie Price, is she in there somewhere?
Please,
I'm sure
not in the 80s. She probably was in the later ones. But Johnny, what was the other one? I keep saying Johnny Mathis. It's not Johnny Mathis.
Johnny Logan. He won twice.
Twice, right? One after another. God, I need to get a life, Joe.
Cliff Richard. What was he?
I think he was a bit earlier. He wasn't the 80s.
Oh, he might have been earlier. Oh, there's so many, isn't there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hard to remember.
Loads and loads
and
loads.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Right. Thanks ever so much for that, Karen. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah.
Right,
bye.
Take care. Bye. Yeah. How amazing was that? Do you know what? I do love the words ... Don't come easy. It's absolutely. Do you know what? As much as it's a bit of a risky one, it's like some of the lyrics you hear. It's just what it is, isn't it? From the 80s, they were just out. I mean, we still get some lyrics like that now, but when I divulge through some of the 80s stuff that we were singing out as kids and bellowing in from our bedrooms and screaming out in the streets, you just think, whoa. But that's it. That's me done for another one. Thanks ever so much for Karen. Again, smashing it every time. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, if you want to subscribe, please, if you want to subscribe or share, like, comment, it all helps. And it is, I will absolutely appreciate it. So yeah, try and share, like, comment, share with your friends. If anyone would like to be a guest, 80sboomboom@gmail.com, or you can follow me on all my social medias and send me a message and we'll try and sort that out. So that's me done for another episode. So thanks ever so much for joining. Have a good day, you beautiful lot.